Welcome to my poker vlog. I am playing at my friend's home game, 5-handed, 25-cent small and big blind, buying in for 20. So let's go over some hands here. First hand of this 5-handed poker game, I'm looking at Queen 8 offsuit from the button here. I go ahead and bet 75 cents. The big blind defense and everyone folds, so heading into the flop heads up. Flop comes Jack 7. My opponent quickly checks. Going to play some honest poker here, so I check back. Turn comes a 5 of hearts, putting the flush draw on the board. He checks for the second time and I check right back. River comes a non-heart queen. He checks for the third time. I'm going to go ahead and put in the value bet here of $1. He announces, donates, and calls. I show my queen and I am good. So I scoop the first pot here at this 5-handed poker game. Second hand here, we're looking at 2-3 suited hearts from under the gun. I go ahead and put in a bet of 75 cents here. Then the button raises to $2. Don't know what's going on here. I really wanted to play this hand, but I'm guessing I'm most likely up against any ace X hands at this point. So I make the discipline fold here, and indeed, button flashes his ace. So good read by me here. I make the discipline fold. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this hand here. I am at the small blind with ace 9 off. Action back to me. I go ahead and bet 75 cents here. Then the big blind puts in 150 on top of my bet. So with ace high here, I'm going to put in the call here. Heads up going into the flop, and the flop comes 3-4-10. I check it and he bets 250. I am good most of the time here on this flop against maybe a loose aggressive player who likes to c-bet a lot with any two cards here. But I don't think this is the case here. I think I'm up against a monster hand here, and I go ahead and make the discipline fold here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next hand here. I'm at the big blind with 10 deuce offsuit here with an 8 of hearts exposed. The cutoff bets $1 and the button calls. I decide to loosen up here and just go ahead and put in the call here. And you know what? You know what happens when you play the Doyle Brunson hand. You get immediately rewarded with this beautiful flop of 10 deuce 6 with 2 spades. Life is good when you flop the 2 pair here. I check, hoping one of my 2 opponents will bet here so I can put in a check raise, and indeed one of them did. The cutoff bets 2 and then the button folds. I have a decision here. Should I slow play here and just flat, or should I try to squeeze for some value here? What could he possibly have that would bet $2 here on this flop and call a check raise here? Maybe pocket queens and up, or a flush draw. So I went deep into the tank here and decide to put in a raise of 450. Then my opponent looks at my stack. He looks at me, giving me the I will jam on you look. Then he looks at his own stack and he counts it out. And then he announces a $15.75 jam. Wow. Music to my ears. I'm never folding here, so I make the call. Then my opponent shows 7-9 suited for a gut shot, a flush, and a straight flush draw here. So he got the worlds of out here. So I just need to fade an 8 here or a spade to take this one down. So the turn comes a queen of clubs, and the river is a jack of hearts. Wow. I managed to fade all of its outs here and scoop this huge pot here. So that was awesome.
16.
Yeah. Yep.
Covered?
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. 10 deuce.
10 deuce. And you won't play ace deuce, right?
Huh? Remember you said deuce?
All right, at this very next hand here, I'm at the cutoff with ace 7 off. I bet 75, then the big blind defends and calls. Off to the flop heads up here. Flop comes 3-10 queen with 2 hearts. My opponent checks, and I go ahead and check right back. Turn comes a 7 of diamonds. My opponent checks for the second time here. I go ahead and bet here with my pair of 7s here. I go ahead and bet $1, and opponent decides to fold here, so I take that small pot down. All right, on this very next hand here, I'm at the big blind with pocket 10s. The cutoff bet's 1 here. Button calls. The small blind calls as well. I'm going to go ahead and narrow down the field here. So I put in a raise of 450 total. The button then goes deep into the tank and decides to make the call, and everyone folds. Off to the flop heads up. Flop comes 8-10 jack with 2 diamonds here. What a flop here. I flopped a set. My opponent makes the mistake of checking out of turn. So I decide to make my bet look a little bluffy here and puts in a pot size bet of 875, hoping any ace king or ace X hands or ace king, king jack, queen jack, along with maybe any combo draws that would call me. So he went deep into the tank here. He went deep into tank for a long while and decides to make the fold.
No, I tape it only when.
You take your hand and you go like that. I'm like Kevin has it. Don't fuck with it. That's why. I'm telling you. I'm putting money on it. I'll put, bro. Your 2 cards are probably good. He had you off those 3 cards.
If you had ace 9 of diamonds, I would have shoved it all in.
Yeah. I don't think you had an ace. I don't think you had an ace.
All right, on this next hand here, I'm looking at Jack 9 suited at the cutoff. I go ahead and put in a bet of $1, and the under the gun player calls. So going into the flop heads up. Flop comes 7-6 jack with 2 clubs here. Opponent leads out and bets 2. With a top pair and a decent kicker here, I'm not going anywhere, so I throw in the call. Turn is a 6 of hearts. The opponent now checks. So I think he's just throwing that C bet just for the heck of it here. So at this spot here, I'm going to go for value and put in 275, sorry. Put in a 275 bet, and he instantly folds. So I take that decent pot down here. Very good. Last hand of the night here, I'm looking at King Queen suited at the big blind. Cutoff bets 1, and I go ahead and make the call. Heads up going into the flop. Flop comes 3-3-5 with 2 clubs here. I check, and he checks it right back. Turn comes a 10 of clubs, so I got there on the flush. I check. Opponent bets 2. I decide to play a little deceptive here and just call so I can fire big on any river card. River is an ace of hearts. I'm going with the plan here and fires 475. If he's got the ace here, he's going to most likely pay me off. And that's exactly what he did. He puts in the call, and I show the winner and take the last pot down for the night. Well, that was the last hand of the session here. So thank you so much for watching. This is my very first poker vlog. So give me some good feedback here in the comment section down below. If you guys like it, go ahead and give me the thumbs up here and consider subscribing, because I am most likely going to be posting more videos in this channel. So give me that follow, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.